So I'm gonna start me some recordings. And here we go. We're live. What? Ooh, exciting! Very exciting. Uh, how are you guys? Once again, my name is Queer Paul, and this is Embrace the Stains. Embrace the Stains, where you guys can come in. If you guys are young people, if you guys are youth, young adults, and especially artists as well too, we can come in and you guys can learn how to embrace the stains, knowing that stains, of course, are not mistakes, but they're just brushstrokes in your life that God has put together to make the masterpiece that is called your life. So I'm testing things out today. As you can see, I got a new background. In fact, what I wanted to do, I wanted to go ahead and just kind of take a little tour as to all the art that I actually have up here. I want to give shout outs to some of the people that have contributed to my art wall, my kind of like fan-based art wall, and want to go with that. So with that, I'm going to do something really cool. Hold up. 1 second, you guys. I'm still here. So like a teacher, I got a pointer. Let's do this. You can do little tricks. Look at oh. Didn't know I could do that. Huh? I'm gonna break something. Anyway, let's start over here. That piece, one of my favorite pieces. It was actually done by a really good friend of mine, J. Daniel Rennis. He's actually in photography right now, but I believe that's kind of a, I don't know how he did it. I forgot what it's called, but basically it's really cool. If you know the scene, it's one of the first episodes of a really great anime I like called Bleach. So that's Rukia, that's a death butterfly, and she's standing on a building or something. So it's really cool. I like it, and I actually got it going to Access Cafe, which is a cafe that we actually have within our church. We with the cafe we actually do open mics. Some people actually jump in, sing music, spoken word poetry, things like that. And definitely art like this kind of stands out. And it was actually sold as what was it? A fundraising piece. So I actually got it from him. With that too, I got another one. I don't know who this cat is, but this is one of the first ones that I got. Really cool. How many people does it take to make a difference? One. I was actually trying to buy it for another one. I think it was like a really big one that said love. I didn't get it. My friend got that one. But I really like this one too. It's been with me for a while. More than a year actually. I forgot who that cat was. I know someone else is going to tell me. So with that, next one. This piece is kind of cool. It says look up. Small piece that actually one of my friends, Tommy Knock, actually made it. He's part of ISI collective. They're actually doing a fundraiser. I'll try to put the link in actually when this video comes up on YouTube, but definitely look them up. ISI Collective. They're based right over here in California. They're doing a fundraising in a couple weeks in Long Beach. That's going to take them doing missions work and artwork within the Netherlands. So definitely look them up. Definitely shout outs to them and shout outs to Tommy. This one, I forgot who made it, but I actually went to a art show at a church, and there was this woman doing silhouette. So really cool story. I said basically, can you do a silhouette of me? But I was wearing headphones, and it's like, well, I probably can, but the headphones won't show up. So I just gave her idea that, okay, well, what if you just like make the headphones, like the shadow of the headphones, why don't you just make that into like the cutout? And it's like, you know, that's a really good idea. She did it, and it looks really good. I'm gonna take it out actually, so y'all can see it. I'm gonna break it. Watch, I'm gonna break it live. But there it is, really cool. You can see it has like headphones and stuff. It's really nice. I like it. So I'm gonna put it back, and it's gonna break because I'm just that clumsy. It's crooked. It's better anyway. All right. I'm gonna get to the photography later. Because it's my stuff. But anyway, this piece right here, I have no idea who did it, but it was a really, really, really good artist. I got it actually as basically just a souvenir when I went to the LA. Well, no, not LA. The art museum or the art center in Chicago, and that was one of my favorite pieces. I thought the girl was kind of pretty, and it was kind of weird, like, you know, when you usually see like those geisha ones. Those geisha pieces, they usually have like really big lips and stuff like that, and something that just looks comical. But this one kind of looked real, and I kind of liked it, and so I got it. With that, next one, shout out to my cousin, Abesamis. I went to Anime Expo last year, which by the way is coming up in a couple weeks. I'm gonna be doing photography at least for 2 days there. If you guys are in Anime Expo, definitely look me up. I'll have my cards with me and some flyers as well of my photography. So if you guys want to kind of get pictures, things like that, order prints, whatever, I'm going to be doing photography at Anime Expo, share your cosplay, or just get a picture from me. So I'll be there. And within the art walk, you might, I don't know if he's going this year, but you might see my boy, my cousin, my kuya, Abesamis. He did this piece. If you know a little bit about anime, that's Rurouni Kenshin. He had a great number of pieces. Definitely check him out. I don't know if he takes friends on Facebook, but I'm sure he does. Abesamis, really incredible artist. And he's been doing some products actually with some large companies. I actually can't say the names because they're way too large, and I don't want to get sued by a multi-million billion-dollar industry. So I won't say where he's worked, but he's worked for them. But really great, awesome artwork. Look him up. He's really, really awesome, really great guy. And yeah, really great art too. So he gave me this piece when I was over there at Anime Expo, and it was even a shock. Like I was just walking around, I was like, "Oh, it's my cousin! Oh my gosh!" And then he saw me and he's like, "Hey, take one." I was like, "Cool," and I took that one because it looked cool. There was another one too that he did of Goku, like the kid Goku with like on Nimbus, and it was really cool too. But that one just kind of spoke. So these pieces actually were done by my boy Richie Kong, Ritchie. I made a mistake last time. I'm not actually putting the T in, but Richie Kong is actually really cool. Awesome cat, graduate of Cal State Fullerton, also part of ISI Collective. Incredible guy, incredible artists. If you ever get to see his work or even done live, he does a lot of church events, a lot of mission stuff, just helping out the community, especially the church community and the Christian community here in Southern California. Definitely spreading his wings out to do a lot more stuff as well too. So if you ever get to see this cat while he's still available, like let him know you'd love to be blessed at your church. Definitely give this cat a call. He's on Facebook, Richie Kong. I forget the website, but I will look it up, and it will be on the links at the end when this goes up on YouTube. But definitely look that guy up, Richie Kong, awesome guy. So other than that, everything else like the photography that you see here and over here, and over here and over here, that's me. So as I said before, one of the things that I love to do, one of the things that God blessed in me is to do photography. That's one of my art forms, and I love it. With that too, am I still recording? Oh yeah, I'm still recording. Yeah, but other than that, that's basically it. That's my art wall. It's gonna be my new background from here on in. So I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited to actually do more stuff over here. Of course, I'm gonna be standing most of the time. I do have a chair, but now I'm using it for my keyboard and mouse. But other than that, yeah, that's basically it. What I wanted to do today is more or less kind of hang out, but also kind of tell you guys a little bit more about myself. If you guys have stuck around this long and have watched some of the things I've been doing, again, just been answering questions that people have been sending in, that I've been getting from my friends, from the youth I've been helping the past couple of weeks, past couple of months, and just been kind of keeping to that role. But I figured this would be a really good time, since everything looks new, to be able to tell you guys a little bit more about myself. So basically, this is gonna be I'm gonna call. Wait, hold on. Oh, loud train. Maybe you heard that, maybe you didn't. That was a train. Oh my goodness, it was so loud. All right, but in any event, thought this would be a really good time for me to go ahead, share my history with you guys. I'm gonna call this one probably my history of ministry, and I'll try to just stick with that. So, just to let you guys know, and also from the very beginning. So in terms of history of ministry, I'll start with when I first accepted the Lord. And when I first accepted God and first accepted Jesus into my heart, I was around 7 years old. Now, a lot of pastors, when when they ask you about your testimony, some of them are pretty like hardcore strict, and they say you have to know the date, the times. Like, how are you going to be really sure that you're saved unless you really know? I'm like, you know what? I was 8 years old. I was 7 years old. I don't remember time. I don't remember when or what was happening. All I remember is it was summer vacation. My family was at our church, Faith in Christ Church, up in Los Angeles. And it was a Friday night prayer meeting. So Friday night prayer meeting, usually it's me, the rest of my friends were just jumping around outside while prayer meeting's going on. Not too many chaperones or people watching us. And with that, it was just kind of constant. Like we just do that every week. We just stick around, hang around. They were my home away from home. They were my brothers. But what happened one of these days was I just had this inkling, this urge to just stay inside. So I did. I ended up staying inside, stayed in the service, and the service was being run at the time by, at least for that Friday, by a really great woman in the Lord, Sister Belen. And she's the one that actually led me to Christ. But when it was first starting, basically, and I had that urge to stay in, most of the message that night was in Tagalog or Filipino, which I didn't understand because, born in America, I know English, that's it. So just ended up, I remember just sitting there and just like, I know I need to be here, but I have no idea what's going on. I picked up a Bible and I started flipping through the pages, and I didn't even know if I was reading it or not. I tried to underline like everyone else does. I'm like, I'm gonna underline words and stuff. But yeah, even my friends, it was funny because my friends would walk inside every now and then. It's like, Paul, you okay? Are you in trouble? I was like, no, I'm in trouble. I just want to stay inside. It was funny. Like they'd always just like, are you sure? It's okay. Like if you're in trouble, it's like, no, it's okay. It's like, you could join me, but I'm all right being right here. So I didn't know what was happening until finally I heard Sister Belen basically do what she does, and what every pastor does at the end of every service. She just asks for an altar call, people to come up and accept the Lord. So I went. I went up, and I didn't necessarily know what I was doing at the time, other than I knew I needed to do it and I wanted to do it. And I tell this to everyone that asks me about it. In terms of how I felt going up there, I felt as if I was meeting my dad for the first time. Now, I knew my dad. Like, I have my mom, my dad. They've been together ever since I was born, and of course before that as well too. Never separated. But what was interesting is like I felt like I was meeting my dad. So I got up. I went there. I got prayed for, and I just felt like I was. Even though I knew no one was I knew like visually I couldn't see anything. I just felt like I was like staring at my dad for the first time. It felt good. It felt really cool. Coming from that, I didn't really know what really happened until a couple weeks later, I went to this kind of joint fellowship with other churches. Again, I was a kid, so basically I just stayed in the children's room. My mom was watching us. She had the privilege to watch us that night. Me and all the rest of the kids, she was kind of doing babysitting duty. So we ended up just running around. It was someone else's church, someone else's children's room. There were all these like toys and games and equipment, and we just started running and jumping all over it and kind of wrecking it. Finally, my mom gets mad. She tells me, at least me, she didn't care about the other kid. She just cares about her kid, more or less. But at the time, she's just like, hey, we don't do that. And she sat me down. And I was like, why? I don't get it. Why? Until I heard this other voice that was not my mom's voice inside my heart and my head. Said, hey, we don't do that. And I was like, okay. And like, nothing against my mom, but the other voice that I heard, I trusted more. So when my friends actually went up to me and they were like jumping on like some like those preschool playground equipments, the ones where you can kind of connect and disconnect, they were just jumping around trying to wreck it. It's like, hey, Paul, come on, let's go play. I don't remember saying these exact words, but basically I said, no, I don't do that anymore. And I knew something was different. So since then, I became very much involved in the church. I remember being really involved in children's ministry. Our children's ministry at the church was pretty epic. Like every week we had like a special number. We had a dance. We had things. We had choreography and everything. We had memorized songs. Children's ministry was really epic, and for me it was incredible. We did everything from like Salty to singing songbook, the Donut Man. Look these things up, because you're like, what? Who are these guys? Like they were like the Barneys of the children's world. We had all those. We had Kids Praise, which is basically kids. Okay, Kids Praise is kind of interesting. You should look up Kids Praise, because they had one Kids Praise 1 to like Kids Praise 10, and maybe even more than that. But Kids Praise was like something that was released every year, which is basically like the Christian Disney Channel, because they had like a group of kids that they would stay there and they would sing songs on their own. Like they had like a Christian Justin Timberlake, a Christian Britney. It was really weird, but it was really cool. I never really realized that until just now, actually. That was kind of like that, like kind of the Christian Disney Channel. But we do that, and we do the songs that we learned from there. Did everything from pantomime, sign language. We did everything, and this is when I was growing up as a kid. With that, I fell in love with singing. I love to sing, and I just kept trying to do it. Kept doing it more and more and more and more and more. There was one time at a church when we had moved to a church near a place called Fruit of the Vine, right here in Covina, and there was one time when we were going to be doing a singing number, and I was going to be, of course, one of the guys' singers. So all the other guys, they don't really want to sing. It's like, I kind of don't want to sing, because it's not in my key, or so I thought. So I was like, this is not in my key. I can't sing it. Until Brother Ken, he was kind of like the associate pastor, also worship pastor of the church. He recognized that when I was trying to sing the high ones, I was using my falsetto. But I could reach it if I just really, really punched it. I just didn't want to, because I was a guy. I don't want to. Guys don't really want to sing. Like, they don't. Like, when they're young, they're like, no, singing's for girls, whatever. But she said, you can really punch it and you could really do it. For me, hearing that, I didn't know I had a good voice. Not that I like have a super pristine voice. It's just I didn't know I had a decent one. So when he says like, yeah, you could really punch it, it made me excited. So I tried. I don't even remember the song, but I remember like kind of the way I felt. It's like, yeah, I can really hit this song and really punch this song and really do it. So I did it. Kept going from there, and I just started really loving to sing, loving to be a part of praise and worship, being part of the worship team or singing. And at this time, our mom was trying to teach us piano. Only my sister kind of got into it. I fell out. And from there, I just said, just give me percussion, I'll learn it. And I did. In fact, I remember it was hard moments, but when my dad used to teach me drums. However, he didn't know how to teach a person how to play an instrument, because he didn't really play one himself. So in terms of teaching rhythm, it was hard. I remember times when he just have a tape recorder and he just put it on his ear and says, okay, follow the beat. I'm like, but I can't hear the beat. I'm like, no, just follow it. I'll put it on my ear. I'm like, what? I don't get it. Like, I don't have the beat. I can't hear it. How am I going to play it? And it was like pulling teeth when I was learning how to play drums. I think he really wanted, because drummers are hard to find. At least in worship things like that, you need a good sense of rhythm. So in the end, I'm glad my dad went and taught me. However, it was very, very, very hard to begin with. So with that, went to a praise and worship, just became a drummer. I took it kind of with a grain of salt. I was just like, I'm a drummer. I got to a certain degree. I did it for high school, but I could never kind of correlate music in that sense. Imagination. I just basically said, this is how the song is played, so I try to play it the best I can. If I can't, I have to figure out a way. I never thought that there was a certain type of musicality. Basically, I never really had too much of imagination in music, which I thought was funny. Around this time too, we were going from church to church, me and my family. We were known as the worship family, because we'd go from church to church, and every few years or so, we'd jump to another church and help them develop worship teams. Specifically and namely for their church. And then once something was developed, we jump into another church, usually a growing church, a church that just formulated, and then we'd help them develop worship teams. And we did this all throughout my middle and high school years, even up to college. And we just stick together and stay together as a family and develop worship teams all around Southern California. So it was a really great moment for me. I was learning a lot, but I wasn't learning a lot about, well, I learned a lot about like being in worship, but in terms of the kind of the creative side that I've been having recently, it didn't happen until recently. But we'll get to that later. Going into my history of ministry, around this time, around 15, 16 years old, I started to fall in love with a new ministry, and that was youth ministry. Now, at the time, I was a youth. I was 15, 16 years old. I was youth. However, there was this passion, this drive that I loved about youth ministry, about being involved in youth ministry that I never really knew I had. And I think it really all started with one of the key kuyas within my life. And I've always been convicted. This is just kind of a side note. I've always been convicted of being able to write a book of all of the kuyas that helped me kind of develop into who I am right now. I just feel like there are more kuyas out there, but I think it would be a really cool book because I have a lot of kuyas that kind of poured out like specific lessons within my life. And to sum that up into my next point, there was a kuya that really helped me around this time. His name was Kuya June, or Gabriel. We call him Kuya June. I can't call him anything else. That's what his name was. But his name is Kuya June, and Kuya June and Ate Ed were just incredible. They wanted to formulate and start a youth ministry within a growing church within Pasadena. And me and my sisters, we were the founding members, more or less. We were the first youth that they asked. I even remember they asked my parents, "Hey, can we take Paul, Kimmy, and Catherine out to dinner?" And we thought it was like, that's really cool. But we've never really been taken out to dinner. So they were asking us, so what's a really good place to eat? We had no idea. Like now, if someone asks you, hey, what's a really good place to eat? You're going to ask something big. Like, hey, let's go to this hole-in-the-wall restaurant. Let's go to this big place. Let's go to P.F. Chang's, whatever. You're going to throw up something big if someone's going to be paying for dinner. Me and my sisters, we've never been taken out to dinner. So we're just like, there's a Taco Bell. So we went to Taco Bell. And it was amazing. I learned so much in just that one encounter, and I learned so much more after that. But I learned so much about passion, about drive, about being able to just treat ministry like family. It's not exactly family, but like definitely like family, and have a love for them like family. I learned that all from Kuya Jun. Going from here, it just kind of started to grow. I loved being part of the youth ministry. I love being able to see people grow, to see lives changed, and especially within the teen years, that's when a lot of change happens. Namely in myself, everything from my passions, my goals, my desires, things I wanted to do with my life, they started to formulate. They weren't fully formed yet. In fact, I would even debate it's not really even fully formed now. God's still forming things in me. But they start and begin to formulate within your teen years. Everything from what you want to do to who you want to be with. Relationships is a huge thing in your teen years. And I just love having that essence of kuyas and atas around me to help me grow. It was such an important time in my life, and everyone kept saying it, and everyone keeps saying it, that teen years are so important, that I loved how I had a family of kuyas and atas to go to, of big brothers and big sisters, people that I can just go to and just say, hey, yeah, I need help. But kuya and ate, by the way, I say kuya. Kuya means big brother in Tagalog, and ate means big sister. Kuya, K-U-Y-A, ate, oddly, A-T-E. When you spell it, it just looks like a capital 8. It's like 8. It's like 8. So you ate what? I don't know. I've gotten that before because I'd write ate like, ate Kimmy, like my sister, ate Kimmy. It's like, you ate Kimmy? And like, no, it's ate. It's pronounced differently. But anyway, kuyas, big brothers, ate. So that's why on my stream, I'm called Kuya Paul. I'm Big Brother Paul. And a lot of people actually have been calling me that. Kind of stuck ever since I had this passion for youth ministry. So, man, from there, I just kept going. Jump 15 years later, I've been able to be blessed enough to help found and organize and build youth ministries within Southern California. More than a handful. I mean, definitely not a bill. Like I didn't do hundreds, but definitely I've had a hand in a lot of youth groups, youth ministries, like just youth, that just wanted advice, that just wanted to talk. I've been able to help so many youth, hundreds of youth. I mean, I would even debate maybe close to thousands, but I don't know. I didn't really keep track. I basically just, wherever I was needed, I just helped. And that's where my heart for young people actually come from, which is why a lot of what we talk about in Embrace the Stains, I really do center it on youth, because it's my passion. Young people are just a passion of mine, and I really, 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 really do want to see their lives changed, especially during this crucial time. But of course, young people, not just teens, but all the way into kind of college years as well too. It's a very crucial time for you guys, going in and being able to find different things about who you are and what you're meant to be and what God has built you and meant for you and manufactured you to do. So it's always been a passion of mine, and it's been a passion ever since 15. And for about 15 years I've been in youth ministry. Of course, coupled with that, I've always been a part of worship team ministry as well too, which is where my heart and passion for music and subtly the arts actually started to creep in as well. So recent history has actually given birth to all this stuff, including Embrace the Stains and the email address and whatever. That's actually from recent history. At one of my last churches before I moved, there was kind of a conflict that I had been happening in myself, which unfortunately got into conflicts and how ministry should be, how I saw ministry going, because there was this heart and passion in me that was growing for the arts, and it spurned actually from the youth group. So with the youth group, I saw so much talent. I saw so much vibrancy within not just ministry and worship, but also within talent. I mean, we had singers, we had dancers, we had rappers, we had poets, and I was like, I've never seen this before. I've never seen people so passionate about just the art, about their art and the connection it had with worship. I never saw it. You have to remember that ever since I was 7, 8 years old, I was in the church, and the only kind of music, I was very sheltered. The only kind of music, the only kind of art I saw was within the church. Everything else was kind of sheltered to me. I knew it was there. I mean, even in that, like my dad loved, and my dad and my mom loved MJ, Madonna, before they became Christian. There was kind of really that vibe of, there's music out there, there's art out there, there's dance out there, but I never really got a full taste of it until all this stuff was happening within our ministry, our youth, and this was in Glendale. The youth group was called Famous Youth Group, and it was incredible. We had this heart that each one of them was famous, that they were meant to take center stage for God and the gifts and talents that God has given them, to be themselves, to be who God made them to be, in order to lift God, His name up high, and to draw men to Himself. But in order to do that, they had to take center stage. They had to use the gifts and talents, and I saw these gifts and talents just coming around, and I was amazed. It's incredible. With that too, I just saw just the future of what ministry was becoming, and it started to conflict with the specific goals of the church. Now, of course, the goals of the church, of course, is to lift the Lord's name on high and to bring people towards Him, especially the unsaved, towards Him and towards His knowledge and towards His love. So those general things were still there. Of course, they were still there. But the specific things about my heart for art was kind of, it was somewhat in conflict, mostly within myself. Really, it was mostly within myself that was just conflicting within my heart, and I just felt like there was something more, something I was missing. I don't like to get too much into detail, but I will say this: it caused me to kind of step down from ministry at the point, and also step down and look for another ministry to actually grow in, because I didn't know what was going on even in myself. I was finding out that there was some art in me. That was trippy. Like that was super trippy. Like 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 photography and poetry and writing and all the other things that God was doing in me recently, I never knew I even had. I never really thought I had it. I never really thought it was in me. I always thought, I really did. I really just thought it's just youth ministry and worship ministry and that's it. Really, really sheltered. But I didn't know that I was meant to do this stuff to actually spread into other facets and other art forms. From then, it was kind of a depressing time for me because I really didn't know how these things all fit. Never been an artist before, and I never really wanted to admit at the time that I was an artist because I never thought about it. And I think I mentioned this in stream before, but my one of my friends who was part of my youth, Daniel, and some of you guys have jumped into his stream, of course, NAK's listening party. He was actually, we switched roles for about 6 months to a year, and he became my kuya, my big brother, because I tell him all the things I've been wanting to do, that God's been putting in my heart, and instead of just like kind of debating over, he just said go ahead and do it. I told him I wanted to write a poem. He just do it. And so I wrote poems. I wrote raps. I was like, what is this? This is weird. And he said it was actually really good. I told him I wanted to write a book. He said, you know what? I'll be the first one to read it. It's a lie because he did it. He wasn't the first one to read it. He actually lost my book. I did, though. I finished the book. And he still wants... Actually, I need to give him the link because I keep forgetting. I have to give him the link to my book. But you'll actually find... Oh, will you find? I believe you'll still find excerpts of my book within EmbraceSustains.com. So there are still excerpts of my book in there. He was a big encouragement of me actually writing it in the first place. So I was able to do that. Continue to write poetry. And I got into photography. I got into just taking pictures and finding compositions. And I didn't know it was all in me. And I just kept going and going and going. Fast forward about 2-3 years, I'm here right now doing a stream in front of you guys, talking about just all the great things that God has done in me and giving advice to you guys. All of this because God was doing something even greater. I mean, I was in my late 20s. I was thought, that's it. I'm already set to what I'm supposed to do for the rest of my life. And God's like, nah, I can change everything. And he has. And with all that, this is where it came from. From all the art, even all the art in this wall, and one of the reasons why I really like this wall and really like all the art pieces, I collect art as kind of my reminder. Now, I can do it this way, or explain it this way. In the book of Joshua, when the Israelite army crosses the Jordan, all of the people within Israel, all the 12 tribes, are actually asked to take a stone out of the river and make an altar. And the altar was meant to signify, this is where I took you from. This is a reminder that I took you through the Jordan. I took you through the Jordan, and every time you saw this altar, every time your descendants see this altar, they will remember that I took you out of the desert, I took you through the Jordan, and I took you into this land that I promised you. And that's what this art's for. This whole wall is basically, and it's going to grow even bigger, but this whole wall is one big reminder, a reminder to me of where I've been. Everything from the very beginning to where I've been in ministry, it just kind of reminds me, I'm reminded about all of it on this wall, about where I used to be, about all the great things that happened in the past, like I talked about even today, but also just all the great things that God is still doing. And like I said, this wall is going to grow, and I'm really actually pretty excited about this wall growing into something great, something that God is actually going to do. So no questions today. I still am taking questions though. So if you do have any questions, definitely send them to ETSRevolution@gmail.com. I'm taking questions on basically anything that you have about ministry. Now, I've been getting a lot of questions actually personally from everyone that I've been doing ministry with. So if I've gone to your church, or if you got to meet me, or if you go to my church, or if you just know me basically from Facebook, drop in a line. Anything that you've ever wanted to ask about ministry, wanted to ask about life. I even had one of my youth actually come in, and I might actually use this question. But she even just asked, like, how do you read the Bible better? It's like, well, great. That's a good question. And it's definitely one that I know some of you guys, it's like, will probably have. Like, how do you do your devotions? You know, my devotions are, they're coupled with the word and also with poetry. And I'll get more into it actually probably the next time we meet. But if you have any questions, send them to ETSRevolution@gmail.com. And I will definitely leave time within these broadcasts to go through each question one by one, probably even have a whole broadcast dedicated to those questions. If you want to keep it personal, that's fine. I won't say any names if it definitely is personal. Also, if you are an artist too, want to hear artist questions. Like if you want to know how to get into, or if you have specific questions about singing. I think one of my youth actually asked how to do second voice, and or how to develop into kind of like the second voice and hearing the harmonies. Definitely something that we can address as well too, and probably something that I'll be answering. But again, in the meantime, ETSRevolution@gmail.com. Send all your questions there. I definitely would love to hear from you guys. Also visit EmbraceTheStains.com. It's my website. All the art, Ustreams, the YouTube, all the links are there. If you want to know more about me and want to, of course, visit the previous broadcast that I said podcast. I was actually thinking about doing that, doing a podcast, but I'm going to stick to these broadcasts and YouTube broadcasts in the meantime. But other than that, that's basically it. I haven't really checked like the chat or anything. I don't know if anyone's left anything. But first and foremost, definitely wanted to thank you guys. Wow, so many ads. And then someone said, "Hey, Kuya Paul." So I'm gonna say, "Hey" back. I don't even know how. 10:39. Oh, hey, who's that? Actually, hold on. Give me a second. Give me 1 second, you guys. I'm gonna close the recording, but I'll still be online. I'm just gonna close the recording. Other than that, embrace the stains, you guys. ETSRevolution@gmail.com and EmbraceTheStains.com. Definitely visit, and of course, guys, embrace the stains in your life. They're not mistakes, but they're brushstrokes from God.